Hi fashion lovers, you're welcome to another interesting video. Trust you are all doing well. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to sew this perfect off-shoulder bustier top, just like what you are seeing on the screen. In the previous video, we learned how to draft this pattern, and this is going to be a well-detailed sewing of this video. So if you haven't seen the drafting of this bustier, you need to go back and watch the video on how the off-shoulder bustier was drafted. If you are new here, you are highly welcome. Kindly subscribe, turn on the notification bell to be part of this family for more amazing content. And to all my subscribers, thank you guys for subscribing. Let's get started. To get started, I have my fabric here with me. As you can see, I have about 2 yards of fabric, but I ended up using just less than 1 yard. I ended up using less than 1 yard, maybe because I am on the small side. So if you are on the plus size, you can use 1.5 inches for the making of this bustier. So I'll go ahead and grab my pattern which I drafted in the previous video, my off-shoulder pattern or off-shoulder bustier pattern. So this is the center front. On the center front is going to be on fold. You want to go ahead and add half inch all over it, and this is the side seam for the front. You want to add your sewing allowance of half inch, and on the side seam you want to add your side seam sewing allowance. This is the center back, is going to be cut on fold, and the side seam for the back will be cut on fold as well. Because I do not add my zipper allowance, so I'm going to be adding the zipper allowance on the fabric, and then you want to go ahead and add all your half inch sewing allowance and add your side seam sewing allowance. So this is the sleeve. You also want to cut it on fold and add half inch sewing allowance. Also remember to put down your hemming allowance. So for this, I added half inch for the hemming allowance. So in case I'm going to be joining it to a skirt or joining it to a peplum, you can see I've added all my necessary sewing allowance. And I also went ahead to cut out my lining just the same way I cut out my fabric, added all my necessary sewing allowance. So you want to go ahead and determine how the padding is going to be. So for the center front, you want to like come down by half an inch. You don't want your padding to get to that point. You don't want it. So then you want to go ahead and cut out that padding to get to the under bust. So my padding is going to start half inch below the pattern and then end on the under bust. For the side seam, you want to come inward by 4 inches. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 3.5. I added half inch to it, and that is what I marked. On the under bust, I marked 1 inch, and I'm going to come down by half an inch and then try to like connect like this. Did you see what I did? Did you see on the under bust I marked 1 inch, like I went inward by 1 inch, and then I'm connecting it. So that is how I normally make my padding to be. So that's how I normally cut out my padding, which is very easy and simple. So if you have your own way of cutting, some people like cutting it full, you can as well do that. So you can see what I did. I've gone ahead to cut out the padding using that mark that I made, the curve mark that I made, and this is what I have also for the center front. You can see it's also on fold. So that's how I cut out my padding. So this is my fabric. I've notched the under bust, so I'll go ahead and place my pad on the center front. Did you see? Starting from the under bust, you can see there is space on the upper part, which is what I want for my padding. And then you want to go ahead and open your bust, your center, the side seam for the front. Did you see? And then you want to also add your padding. So the allowance, the sewing allowance does not have the padding did not get to the sewing allowance. Please take note of that. The padding did not get to the sewing allowance. So I've gone ahead to like iron it out, and then I'll go ahead and join it. You want to start from the under bust and sew. So I normally like sewing from the under bust upwards and then from the under bust downwards. So I'll go ahead and sew, and this is my back part. This is the center back where the zipper is going to be. Did you see? You want to go ahead and sew the side seam. Did you see? Sew the side seam. So the center is going to be where the zipper is going to, you're going to fix your zipper. So you want to go ahead and fix your zipper around that side. So you can see I have joined the center front. Did you see? I've joined the padding. I've joined the center front now. Did you see? And the side seam, and this is the back. I've also sewn the two sides of the back, and then I've attached my zipper. And then you want to like attach your center front, your front part to the back part, the right side of the front facing the right side of the back. You want to go by, I want to go and sew your sewing allowance that you have added, your side seam sewing allowance. After that, you can go ahead and attach your your bias tape on it, just to like get that style, like a bit of that style, though they added more bias tape to it, but I'll just add on the joint line that I have. And then I actually use the black bias, that I used the white to illustrate, but I ended up using the black bias tape for this. So you can add as many bias tape as possible, but for me, I'm going to be adding only on that line. So you can see I've gone ahead to add the bias tape on it. Did you see? You can add on the side seam. You can add as many as possible. For me, I added only on the seam lines and also on the center front. So you want to also go ahead and sew your lining just the way you sewed your fabric, and then you want to place the lining front side of the right side of the lining facing the right side of the fabric. Then you sew this part. You also sew the neckline of the front and also at the back. Did you see how I'm placing it? So you want to go and sew that by the ½ inch you have added. Then you want to also open your zip. Did you see how the zip is open? And then you want to like go ahead and sew on the zipper part. Did you see? You want to like put it like this and sew on the zipper side, not very close to the zipper teeth. So I want to go ahead and work on the sleeve. So I ended up cutting a 3/4 sleeve instead of the long sleeve that I drafted. So I wanted to like use a 3/4 sleeve. So you want to like use either a facing to finish up the sleeve head, or you can use a bias tape. You can use your lining. You can decide to make use of lining, but for me, I'm cutting out a facing. Though I don't normally use facing, but for this tutorial I decided to try out the facing. Did you see? I decided to try out facing. Did you see how I cut out the facing? So I'm going to be using the facing to finish up the sleeve head, but you can use your bias tape. You can also use a lining, but I decided to use a sleeve a facing. Did you see? You want to like place it like this. Did you see the way I'm placing it? The right side of the facing will face the right side of the sleeve. Did you see? You want to go ahead and sew by the ½ inch you have added your sewing allowance. Did you see that? You can go ahead and top stitch on it as well. So when I was done, this is what I have. Did you see that? I've gone ahead to sew the upper part. I top stitched as well. Did you see? And I've sewn this sleeve, like the zipper side as well. You want to go ahead and turn it to the right side. So the reason why we're doing all these things is just to achieve a neat finishing for our bustier. Did you see that? So this is what I have. Did you see? So you want to go ahead and iron it very well. You want to go ahead and iron it out. And this is the sleeve. I have done the facing. At this point, you can use your fusible webbing, the hemming gum, to like hem it down. Then you also want to go ahead and sew the down part, like finish up the hemming part of the sleeve. And then you want to go ahead and match it up with the bodies to join the sleeve. Did you see the way I'm doing it? You want to go ahead, match it up with the bodies and join the sleeve to the bodies. And then when you are done, you sew the side seam of the sleeve. So this is actually very easy to do. Did you see? This is actually very easy and simple to make. Did you see that? So you just join them like this. You see, you join them, and then you want to go ahead and sew and then finish up the side seam of the sleeve. So when I was done joining the sleeve, this is what I have. You can see how the off shoulder came out. It really came out beautifully. Did you see? Came out so nice and fits my body so perfectly. Did you see that? I love the fitting of this off shoulder. So that's how I actually made my off shoulder for my clients, for myself, and it fits so well. No gaping at the top. You can see the sleeves fits well, sits perfectly well, just the way the way I wanted it to be. So you can decide to alter yours. You can decide to do anything you want to do for yourself. So if you enjoyed this video to this very point, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Kindly share, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.